So Alex has been just very gracious to come and spend some time with us. She's been touring the lab, looking at the tech, brainstorming some of the ideas in the middle of what has been maybe a little bit of a busy season. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's awesome here. Like, I feel like I could be here forever.
When we're going through the product development and prototyping, we have to be able to actually visualize and see this. It's really important to test this out.
Oh, cool.
I could have the coolest job here because I get to, in a way, dress our product.
We have this drop chamber. Here's a Surface Pro.
That hurt to watch.
We sat down together at Cannes a little over a year ago, and in that time, only a few things have happened for you, right?
It's been a busy year,
Yeah.
There's been a lot of things going on, and I think a lot this past year sort of like came to fruition of what was sort of in the works over the past few years. So it's been an exciting time to unveil it all.
Yeah, it's been really impressive. One of the things on that front is how do you, like you said, you start a lot of the work you've done, your connection with your audience, very intentional. And I think people love that because you are so authentic. Once you start getting these investors and people are putting money in, or like we talked about with your TV show, where people are basically producing, how do you maintain like what you want in terms of the authenticity with the balance of all those other business interests?
I think it's important to, speak up and just find your voice in the different projects and things that I'm doing. I think I doubted myself or like my intuition for a while, just because one, I haven't had many years of experience doing any of this at all, and I don't know, like I'm younger, I wasn't sure if I was right or not, but I think like being able to speak up and use your voice is really important, and trusting my gut has been a big thing across these different projects. And it is scary in moments when you have to like let go of control a little bit, but I am open to pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. And I think the special thing with what I do in different avenues, what I can try and whatnot, is I just have this open line of communication with my audience. So it's like, if something doesn't work out, being okay with the humility of that, and just, it adds to another story to tell and share about, even if it doesn't work out the way maybe I had imagined or had hoped.
Yeah, I love that, and I actually think that's something for us to learn too, which is the way that you connect with your audience is a little bit how we need to connect with some of our fans for our products. Mm-hmm. And I love the way you said it, which is, hey, we tried something, maybe it didn't work out, and we're honest about that and we worked through. So I think that's something great we can learn from you on. Now, the Real Actives beauty brand that you did, that was obviously something you cared a lot about. When and how did you decide maybe that should become a business?
It was right after I graduated college. We kept having conversations about what I was really passionate about, and I wanted to find something that, I would be okay even if this failed, because I'm doing it because I'm passionate towards it and I want to get up and work towards this every day. And it all kind of kept coming back down to like acne or something good for acne or covering it. I was, playing around with makeup a little bit more in the beginning, and I just couldn't find like what would make me stand out in that space. And then we sort of came to the idea of doing skincare and making it, the opposite of the experience that I always had with it, which was like confusing and boring and felt so clinical and just not sexy and so negative. So taking a space that I felt like wasn't the best experience for me and making it an experience that I dreamt of having when I was younger. So that is how that all got started. And I would say like a lot of it has been taking the steps before I know exactly what I'm doing. I didn't really know exactly what I was supposed to be looking for when I was hiring people in the beginning. I had so much to learn when it came to the ingredients and formulations and packaging and just different warehouses and everything that goes into it. But I would say just sort of like sticking with my gut and what has felt best has been what got me here into our launch that we just had 2 months ago. So it's been a really exciting journey, and we're just getting started with it.
What you've done is incredible, and Alex is humble about it, but I believe it's sold out like right within like the first month of the launch. So kudos on that.
Thank you.
So in the kind of evolving world of creators and influencers, there's a lot of stuff that's changing around as the scale grows. How you kind of, and your audience gets bigger and bigger. How do you maintain that connection? I always wondered, because when you have a small audience, it's very clear you can talk to them. When it gets so big, how do you kind of manage that?
I think the same ways you do from the start when it is smaller is you have to nurture that relationship. Like I'm reading everyone's comments, messages, replying to them, and it sounds small or minute or stupid or whatever it is, but it matters. And I think still having that same, humility and authenticity with your audience is really important. Like, you can go off and do amazing, great, and cool things, but I think not abandoning who you were and why your audience started to grow a connection with you in the first place is really important. So I always try to just be candid and honest on there. So sometimes there are changes in, I think, the way that content can be put out and what people are attracted to watching, but I think at the core, it's really important to just be the same person that people were there for you in the first place. And I'm always paying attention to my audience and the little things, or even with our skincare company, we will go out and surprise and delight people or certain things, and we pride ourselves on that and really listening to the audience and hearing them out, and if they do have a concern, addressing it. And one of our customers was having like an issue with her skin or something. We had our dermatologist on the skincare brand get on the phone with her and talk to her, because I am so chronically online and like reading all the comments and watching all the things. So I think just really nurturing that relationship is important, because it is a relationship and it's parasocial and it's weird, but it's there.
Yeah, it's a great lesson for us in terms of staying true to kind of your core audience, even as your products get much, much bigger.
Weird.
Right?
So it's like the second quietest room in the world? Wait, I feel like that would be great to like sleep in. Ooh.
So these are thumbs. We have them as models again because it shows the variability, the range that we need to design for.
Now, one thing that's been great, like you've got to come to the campus. We got a chance to show you some things and get all your thoughts and creative ideas. You got to meet with Andy Pearl. You got to see the Surface Hardware Lab. I think some of the Xbox works. You saw the quietest room. Of all the various things you saw, any takeaways? Anything coming with a fresh perspective that kind of stood out for you?
I learned silence even more than I thought I did before in that room. That was great. But I mean, I think it was really cool for me too to see how much goes into the software from a user experience, and like how I don't know, she was showing me different wrists and thumbs and arms and all the stuff that you take into account when it comes to the technology, as opposed to like, I don't know why my mind was just going to like having it actually work, but the user experience I think was really cool to see all the thought and effort that you guys put into that. And it's crazy, even when we were talking about just Copilot and AI and all the things that you're able to do and seeing where the future is going. And I think as just like a consumer, I was saying, like, sometimes I feel like I'm not even educated enough on how to use AI the most efficiently that I can, because I just don't, because we just like don't, I don't know, I'm just not programmed to think like that yet. So I think still continuing to like learn and just find how to better adapt myself to these tools, I think is really, really important. And I'm excited to see where it all goes and what you guys do with it.
Well, our goal is to have the technology and AI adapt to you, as opposed to you having to adapt to it. You know, one of the things that we're just thinking a little bit about is, with the evolution of AI, it can certainly help make content creation easier and interesting, but then sometimes you worry about, do you lose your authenticity if you use too much of those tools? How have you thought about like incorporating AI into kind of what you do with the work you do?
Yeah, I mean, I would say in terms of having AI as like a creative outlet or something to just like bounce ideas off of, I think it's great. Or like naming different things when it comes to skincare, like even naming different products, we have to go through so many just iterations. And sometimes like I work best creatively when I am in a room full of people and we're bouncing off ideas off of each other. So when I don't have that, using like AI or Copilot to go back and forth with different ideas is really, really helpful for sparking more creativity for me. I also think too, using it in a way to understand my audience a little bit better and what performs. We were talking about having, you know, an agent go out and sort of scour my different videos and when people are engaged and when they're not, and different comments, and either, you know, showing an agent a video and being like, how is this going to be received online, or like what types of things do my audience want to see? Because as engaged as I am with my audience, I think using it in a way to better understand my audience as well and what they want to see, and continue to put out content that they're enjoying just as much as I am, I think would be very useful, and something that I honestly wasn't even thinking of until we were talking and just brainstorming about it today. So I'm excited to dive into that.
First off, the partnership we've done with you has been fantastic. Thanks for being such an amazing partner. I think we've learned a lot from you working together. Your visit here and the ideas you've got, keep those coming. I think we have a lot to learn about how to meet the needs that folks have these days, and you bring some fresh ideas, so appreciate that as well. And I'm glad you got to see kind of all the tech. And if next year is anything even half of what you've done this year, I think all of us will watch with like a lot of inspiration in what you're doing. So best of luck, and
Well,
thanks
thank
again
you.
so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.